has reached the #1 rank in Amazon's bestseller charts, both here in the US and in the United Kingdom. He presents live and web streaming spiritual events, workshops and trainings, and makes regular radio and TV appearances, including Guyana TV in the United Kingdom and the US. Originally from New Zealand, he left his home country in 1987 and traveled widely before settling down in London, where in 2002 he established the Center for Conscious Ascension with Dr. Almira Ariel-Haller. The work that he does at the center serves as a vehicle for accelerating the ascension process, which offers powerfully transformative trainings, workshops, and individual sessions to assist people in clearing deep core issues that block them from reaching their lives' fullest potential. So please kindly join me to welcome Dr. Yan here today.
Okay, thank you. We thought there were only going to be 9 of you earlier today, and we came in the store, and they told us there might be 30, so I had it in my mind. It was a small, intimate gathering, but this will be good too. So welcome to your soul contract, Decoded. So I'm going to share with you tonight how to decode the spiritual map of your life, which is hidden in your birth name. So, how many of you have the feeling there's something special you're here to do and someone hasn't quite told you what that is? Put your hands up. Well, you're in the right place because you're going to find out what that is tonight. Well, as best we can. So, in 1990, I came to the States for the first time from New Zealand, and I walked into a hotel room in Phoenix, Arizona, and my teacher, Frank Alper, who's now passed, who channeled through this work in the 80s, it was called the Spiritual Numerology of Moses then, he took out a Star of David, and he asked me for my birth certificate name. Then he decoded it on that Star of David using ancient Hebrew sounds to match the sounds of my name or my Chinese name in phonetic English. And he spent that hour explaining my entire life. So I went from feeling completely lost and confused, didn't know why my life was doing what it was doing, to standing here 25 years later, because everything he said in that reading has come true about becoming a writer, an author, and a teacher. So I'm here tonight to share that with you so that you can find out a little bit about your own lives. And the reason we ask for your birth certificate name is because Barbara is going to generate your charts and email it to you. So then, and we'll send you the video of this event and an audio, so then you understand what your chart is about. But we also have the book, which will decode the chart you'll receive as well. Okay, so there's 3 parts to this evening. I'm going to talk a bit about how the system works. Kathleen has kindly volunteered to bare her soul, and we're going to give her a reading live. And then I'm going to talk about what each of the 22 numbers mean, so that when you, some of you have got your charts already, but when you receive your chart, you actually learn about what your life is about. Okay? So I'd like to connect us all together with a little meditation first to create one unified consciousness. And we're going to do what's called the unified chakra meditation. So you need to put everything down and have your feet flat on the floor, shoes off if you can to stay grounded. And this group consciousness that we'll create will actually guide me in what I say tonight. Okay, so just close your eyes, and when we breathe through our mouths. So I'd like you to begin to breathe the ultraviolet light of your soul into the center of your heart and create a glowing ball of light. Breathe the ultraviolet light of the soul into the center of your heart and expand and encompass the throat chakra and the solar plexus, forming one unified field of light within, through, and around your body. Breathe your awareness into the center of your heart and expand and encompass the brow chakra and the navel chakra, forming one unified field of light within, through, and around your body. Breathe your awareness into the center of your heart and expand and encompass the crown chakra and the base chakra, forming one unified field of light within, through, and around your body. Breathe your awareness into the center of the heart and expand and encompass the astral, causal, and electromagnetic bodies, forming one unified field of light within, through, and around your body. Breathe your awareness into the center of your heart and expand and encompass the alpha chakra, which is one of your hand lengths above your crown chakra and slightly forward, and the omega chakra, one hand length below the base of your spine, forming one unified field of light within, through, and around your body. And allow what we call the waves of Metatron. These are magnetic, electric, and gravitational waves to vibrate between the alpha and the omega chakras and to merge with the astral, causal, and electromagnetic bodies to create the kingdom. Breathe your awareness into the center of your heart and expand and encompass the eighth chakra, about one hand length, directly above your head and your upper thighs, forming one unified field of light within, through, and around your body. And allow the emotional body to merge with your physical fields. Breathe your awareness into the center of your heart and expand and encompass the ninth chakra, about 2 hand lengths above your head and your lower thighs, forming one unified field of light within, through, and around your body. And allow the mental body to merge with the physical fields. Breathe your awareness into the center of your heart and expand and encompass the 10th chakra, about 3 hand lengths above your head and your knees, forming one unified field of light within, through, and around your body. And allow the spiritual body to merge with the physical fields to create the throne. Breathe your awareness into the center of your heart and expand and encompass the 11th chakra way above your head and your upper calves, forming one unified field of light within, through and around your body, and allow the Oversoul to merge with the throne. Breathe your awareness into the center of your heart and expand and encompass the 12th chakra even further above your head and your lower calves, forming one unified field of light within, through and around your body, and allow the Christ Oversoul to merge with the throne. Breathe your awareness into the center of your heart and expand and encompass the 13th chakra way above your head and your feet, forming one unified field of light within, through and around your body, and allow the I Am Oversoul to merge with the throne. Breathe your awareness into the center of your heart and expand and encompass the 14th chakra way above your head to way below your feet, forming one unified field of light within, through and around your body, and allow Source to merge with the throne. And allow the highest frequencies of your spirit to emerge from the throne 3 hand lengths above your head and to descend into your crown chakra, into your heart chakra, and radiate outwards in all directions into the kingdom. And send a stream of this brilliant ultraviolet light to the heart of everyone else in this room to create one group consciousness. It's what we call a synergistic entity. This consciousness will guide us through this evening. Do this now with an out breath. Just feel this consciousness form, surrender to its flow. And when you're ready, take a few deep breaths and open your eyes. Okay. Everyone back? Feel a bit more centered? So you had a little taste of unity consciousness of where we are, have a feeling that we're one with everything, which is where the peace comes from. And we unified from here in the 3rd dimension, up through the higher dimensions, all the way back to Source. And so the idea here is to reconnect to the other parts of you that you don't normally access, so that you go from feeling that perhaps you're a small human being stuck in this body on the earth plane to accessing much more of who you truly are. What's the problem? What's the problem?
That's okay, keep going.
And so who you are in this body is just a tiny part of who you are. And when we leave Source from over here, when we leave where we truly come from, which is pure consciousness, we forget who we are. And the idea of this work is to learn who we truly are. Okay? So what happens is that, how many of you are parents? I mean, how many of you just had a few names you could have called your children? It's like 2 or 3 variations. Well, this happens because here, in what we call the 5th dimension, this is the 3rd dimension, the earth plane where we are. This is the astral plane where you go, in the Hollywood movies, you got the tunnel of light, you go to the astral plane. And this is the 5th dimension where you had a sense just now, some of you, that you felt unified with everything. We ultimately come from source, from pure consciousness, and an out-breath of all that is, of great spirit. And at this point in the 5th dimension, we individuate into a separate consciousness. This is our soul without a physical body. And at some point during that experience, we choose to have embodied human experience. How many of you have been asking, well, why did I come here? It's been really tough. It's been really challenging. Well, the reason you come is because when you densify pure consciousness in a physical body, the emotional intensity, which we all have in all sorts of different ways, is the fastest way that we can grow. We learn much faster in a body. And so, how many of you are familiar with the law of attraction? And how many of you didn't get the Ferrari, as in The Secret? Okay? Well, the reason you didn't get it is because you hadn't programmed it in. Okay? And so what you do up here is and how many of you are okay with the idea of past lives? Okay, so this is you, say now, and this is your previous life 50 years ago. So each lifetime you create a new personality expression. So you are brand new each lifetime. You might have 3 different expressions here, but your soul is eternal. So your soul chooses a personality expression, and it creates that. And it creates that by choosing a name, which is the point of this work, which through the law of attraction, it programs into your physical body, into your DNA, into your, what we call, karmic matrix. It's pretty no coincidence. It's sort of linked to the idea of the movie The Matrix. Because this is the matrix, except there are no machines. Okay? And the karmic matrix is a grey cobweb-like energy that's in your physical and energetic bodies, and it's programmed with the vibrations of your name. And by the law of attraction, they create every moment of your life. And if you understand what that core source program is, then you can actually get on with your life and things can start to flow a little better, which is what this work is about. So you choose 2 or 3 names, which is to give your parents the illusion that they have some choice, some free will choice, and hopefully they pick one of them. 99% of the time, they get it right. And this name is emanating from you from the time you were born, or even before you were born. And so, this name creates your conscious personality. It creates every moment of your life. And that's your birth certificate name. Okay, so we tend to be very casual about names in the West, but even if you change your name, you change your life. So in understanding your birth certificate name, you can work out where your soul wants to take you. And if you understand where it's taking you and you align with that, life opens and flows. Okay, so how many of you feel you've had a really rough life? Yeah, and this is because we tend to turn away from the natural flow of our soul. Okay, so let's find out, how do we actually interpret what our name means? So we use this ancient symbol, the Star of David. And so this is really a gateway of consciousness. And you have to have certain programs built in within this structure. It's in your energy fields before you can come to the earth plane. So it has 2 large triangles. We have a large downward pointing physical triangle, and this represents the physical side of life. You have to form like an interface with the physical reality. You have to learn to walk and talk, get conditioned responses. You have to arrive here. Relationships, careers, kids, houses. How many of you had the midlife crisis between about 35 and 42? Or earlier? Okay, midlife or spiritual awakening, where you may have felt that you look at your life, your job, relationship feeling, this doesn't actually really cut the mustard, this just doesn't do it. There's got to be more to it. How many of you had that and you go and search for it and you want to find that there's something much more and you're going to find it no matter what? Well, that's when this large spiritual triangle here activates, and that's your soul saying, okay, you've set a good foundation, so let's get on with the real meaning of why we're here. And so the spiritual mission activates. And the idea here is that this is going to be grounded by the physical triangle, provided you've worked through enough of those issues there. And so within each of these large triangles, these three aspects, we have karma, talents, and goals. So karma, cause and effect, but actually what it really is a set of unresolved past life issues that you bring in this lifetime to create the negative context for this life. So have you noticed it? And when you're younger, you get everything you don't like in life, and then you get very clear what you do want, and your soul programs this in deliberately. So if you didn't have everything you didn't like initially, you wouldn't focus on what you do want. So for example, how many of you have felt very disempowered in life? Disempowered. Yeah. Yeah. And so we often program in disempowerment, so we get clear, well, I don't like being victimized or abused in whatever form. I want to come back into my power somehow. And so this triggers us down the pathway our soul wants us to go. So within our karma, we have the biggest challenges, which most people in life turn away from, which is why life gets harder. Have you noticed how spiritual people tend to look younger? People who've worked on themselves emotionally, they look younger. It's because they're not carrying all the karmic programming, and those who don't get old a lot quicker. And life can become very bitter because the karmic load's still basically torturing them. So the idea of the physical karma is to engage with, say, the disempowerment. I had a lot of that when I was a child. And then to transmute that shadow energy into the gift of empowerment, to create the opposite out of it. And so for those of you who are searching for the real meaning, look at your greatest challenges, because within that lies your greatest gifts. And you overcome this karma by activating the latent physical talents, and the energy flows into that. And if it's a good match in terms of consciousness, the quality of the energy, and the power, it will transmute that and the gifts will emerge. The talents will get stronger, then that will help you achieve the physical goals. And this is what gets you out of bed in the morning, what excites you about life, in the physical world, in the outer-facing world. And when the spiritual triangle, which runs at the same time, but with less emphasis when you're younger, but as you get older and awaken spiritually, it gets stronger, the spiritual karma contains your spiritual gift, which you'll deliver to the world. It's how you open to higher consciousness if you work through the karmic challenge and transmute it. That's why people say, I wouldn't want to be younger again, maybe younger body, but I'd like to have the emotional experience of older age. It's because you know what's going on. And so latent spiritual talents are used to overcome spiritual karma. The gifts come online. This gets stronger. The spiritual talents, that helps you move to the spiritual goals. And if you work through all these 6 aspects consciously, which is what this work is about, you achieve the soul destiny, life purpose, divine purpose, whatever you want to call it, that thing that we all seek within us. From a very young age, I felt no one's telling the truth down here, and they're not doing their best. Something's badly gone wrong with the world. That's what I used to think. Okay, it's a little better now, but still got a way to go. So, and this is the reason you didn't get the answer to that question, or why am I really here, is because you hadn't worked through the 6 outer aspects of the chart. And so you get pieces of your mission, pieces of the reason for being here, the more clearer you get emotionally by working through the soul contract, and the more you open to the higher consciousness, especially by working through the spiritual karma here. So I'll say a little bit more about what these mean. So I'll explain the difference between karma, talents and goals. Karma means a negative expression. It's not a bad expression, it's just the lessons that you're here to go through. So we call it a negative expression, the challenges. So there are 22 numbers of Hebrew that we use in the system, 22 sounds of Hebrew, which is one of the sacred languages, and it comes out of the movement of Great Spirit. How many of you are familiar with the Flower of Life work by Drumbalo Melchizedek? Where he talks about the flower of life, and he talks about how Hebrew comes out of the flower of life. So it's a movement of Great Spirit, it's pure consciousness. This is why the system is very powerful. And so each frequency of the 22 numbers we use, either in a negative expression or a positive expression. And in talents, if you bring it online, it's mostly positive, but you've got to work through some negative stuff first to get to it. And if it's in goals, there's maybe 30, 40% of it is a negative expression, then you come into the positive. Just so it's clear when we talk about Kathleen's chart in a little while, and you look at your own. All right? And so, what happens here in life, this is time going along the bottom, this is intensity up the left-hand side of the chart, is that initially you are mainly involved with the physical. I mean, you've just been born and you're in this baby's body that can't do much, and so it's very physical. And you work through the physical issues of life and you master them, and so the intensity of this gets less over time. The spiritual side is just starting to happen down here and it rises over time. And when you cross over to this point, that's when you awaken spiritually. And that's usually between 35 and 42, but it's moving a lot younger now because the spiritual awakening is accelerated. So this is actually what we're doing. You're trying to work your way through all this here as consciously as possible. And so if you are following where your soul wants to take you with the soul contract, life opens and flows. If you're not following it, it gets very stuck because we're not following what we call the spiritual signature. How many of you make decisions based on the heart? If your heart opens and you follow it, you notice how it sort of works. But if you think about it too much, if you go too mental, you notice how it doesn't work, it becomes really hard. Well, the heart is the gateway to the soul. It's actually using your physical sensations and emotions and feelings to guide you. And so that's key to this work. All right? So, how many of you are familiar with the stupa? Okay, this is sort of more a metaphor for growth. So for each of those 7 aspects that I showed on the contract, you have a stupa here. And you start at the bottom. This vertical axis is alignment with the flow of the open heart of spirit. You come along here, and you're going around the stupa, and then an issue happens. It could be feeling unworthy to be loved. It happens as a child. Your mother might have ignored you very briefly, and then your inner child went, "Ooh, I'm not loved. I'm not worthy of being loved," and that program got triggered. You come around here, it triggers again at school, might trigger at work or relationships. But that's why stuff keeps repeating. And how many of you had stuff that repeats and you thought you cleared it, but it happens again, you thought, I wasted my money with that therapist, it didn't work. But actually it's not the case. What's actually happening is that you're going to deeper and finer levels of the program. Okay? So it means you're just going around this, and eventually, if you keep going to the top, you'll clear the program. And you would have mastered that aspect. And once you do that, you are totally at the positive energy of that particular aspect. And so our life is about climbing up these things. Okay? And the journey is never linear. The mind thinks it's linear. If we do A, we'll get to B to C. Life is very random. I mean, if you think about how you thought your life would be 20 years ago, it probably hasn't turned out that way, has it? It's because you're going up one of these things. All right? So, the idea here is to move from, this is the most important diagram here, is to move from following the path of the ego, which is the path of the mind, the path of suffering, which is what the Buddha was talking about thousands of years ago, to moving to following the spiritual signature of your open heart, what we call the path of bliss. And what happens is that as you awaken spiritually, we went from the little ego here, which thinks it knows what it's doing, but you realize as you get older it doesn't got a clue, okay, to this expanded consciousness with a unified chakra. And if you stay in that state of consciousness, if you do that meditation every morning, you'll have a different day altogether. Because this higher consciousness, this vastness of spirit, will guide you to follow this. And your mind, hopefully, will quieten down. And so, initially, we converge on the spiritual signature. Our mind takes over, we diverge, but we actually converge eventually over time, and that's why life flows. Life gets easier. And so if you know what your soul contract contains and what it's creating, you can start to do this. And you start to do this, your dreams start to happen. I spent 15 years before being able to do this, barely making a living because I was doing that. And I spent 15 years learning how to move from this to this, which is what I want to share with you today. Okay, so now I'm lucky I can travel around and talk about this sort of thing. It didn't used to be like that though. So, what you're doing is that we're moving up the scale of consciousness here on the left. How many of you are familiar with David Hawkins and the book Power versus Force? Okay, so for those of you who aren't, David Hawkins muscle tested with kinesiology the different states of human consciousness which are on the left. This is a logarithmic scale. 20 is about the lowest frequency you can have in your body. It's shame. 1,000 is Christ. Most people are on average a bit above 200, the level of integrity where people will do what they'll say they do. Unconditional love is 540. Truth is 600. This work is about truth, which is why it has such a strong effect. And so when you follow the flow of your heart, and you open more and more, you move up the scale. And the more you move up the scale, the more you raise the consciousness of those around you. So there are about 1 to 2% of the world's population are service souls or light workers, which is about 70 to 140 million people. And we are the reason the place hasn't torn itself apart, because as we move up the scale, you have an exponential effect on neutralizing the negativity of everyone else who's trying to destroy the place. Okay, so your own personal process of awakening, the more you align with where your soul wants to take you, the more we improve this place. And that's just working on yourself. If you go out and be a therapist or a teacher or a facilitator, then you have an even greater effect. So the more alignment you can achieve and the more clarity you can have, it's better for everyone. Okay? So I want to show you how this actually works now. So Kathleen, you're on. So we just have to rearrange things here a little bit. I just have to move this. I have to get Kathleen's chart up. Why don't you have a seat just there with the microphone? Just bear with me a minute. I'm trying to get the mouse back here. Okay. To find Kathleen's chart. Yeah. I think I just need to adjust the settings because just bear with me. Okay, there you go. So I just have to rearrange this a little bit so that let's move this out of the way. Okay. Okay, turn this on. you want to test that? Just.
Is it on?
Check.
Hello? Hello?
Yeah, it's okay. All right. Okay. So, Kathleen, what's the answer to that question I asked you earlier? What do you really want to know about your life?
Something about relationships at this stage.
Have you got a bit closer?
Oh, something about relationships.
Can you be a bit more specific?
Love.
What's happened?
Love connection.
Yeah, what's actually happened?
I was in a relationship for 18 years,
Yeah.
and it's kind of blowing up, blowing sky high. Recently, I've been working with Barbara and doing a lot of work every 2 weeks, and everything has just like blown sky high, like a volcano.
Okay, we'll see what we can do with that.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll show you how we generated Kathleen's chart. So what we did is we took Kathleen's name up here and we converted it to the equivalent Hebrew sounds here. So we used 22 Hebrew sounds, okay? And in Hebrew, numbers and letters have the same sound and same energy. It's unlike Pythagorean numerology, which some of you may be used to, where you allocate numbers to the Roman alphabet. It just purely comes out of the sound of Hebrew. So the numbers here represent just labels in English for Hebrew frequencies. So you need to let go anything you know about other systems because you can't interpret it in the same way. And so we take the numbers which come here and we start allocating them in a clockwise expanding spiral. Like the 19 goes here, the 1 goes here, and we go around the Star of David till we use them all up. And then what we do is we add them up. So in physical karma, they equal a total of 38. And because we only have 22 numbers and 22 interpretations which were channeled from the soul of Moses by Frank Alpa, we need to reduce it to a number between 1 and 22 to make some sort of sense. So we go 3 plus 8 becomes 11. So 11 is between 1 and 22, so it has some meaning. And then that becomes the left-hand aspect here. And then what we do is we must find out what the right-hand aspect is. So we go 1 plus 1 is 2. So we have an 11 and a 2. So we have a pure 11 in Kathleen's karmic position, so it's a negative expression. We have pure 2. So in Kathleen's lifetime, she's going to experience pure 11, pure 2, plus all the blends in between. So there's a wider range of expression. In the case of physical talents here, the total is 41. 4 plus 1 becomes 5. 5 plus nothing, because there's nothing else to add to that, becomes another 5. So we get what's called a double number. So it means that in this part of Kathleen's life, she can only do something very specific in the energies of 5. There's not a wider range of expression. That's why some of you may feel that you've got a wide range in some parts of your life and other parts are very rigid, and there's nothing you can do about it. You may desire some things which can't happen because the chart's limiting you, but other parts give you more room to maneuver. So we work out all the numbers like that. All right, and then just move down a bit. So we had to sit both of us together for the lighting. Okay, so you can zoom that up a little bit. Yeah. Actually, first off, so what we did is we took, to work out her life, her soul destiny, or her reason for being here, she took the physical numbers, the 11, 2, 5, 5, 9, 9, and put them on the bottom table. The spiritual numbers, the 15, 6, 4, 4, and 17, 8, and put them on the bottom half of the table. And I'll zoom it up now, a bit more. And then we summed them up. We added this column up to get the 61, this one to get the 34, 6 plus 1 is 7, 3 plus 4 is 7, and that goes in the middle of the chart, and that's her soul destiny. So that's the meaning of her life. So if Kathleen works through all the other 6 outer aspects, then her life purpose or soul destiny will happen. And all the little squiggly symbols you see are channel symbols. What they actually do is that they act like antenna or portals for me to guide me in what I'm going to say. And they'll talk to you. For those of you who are very sensitive, when you get your charts, you'll look at them and you'll start to feel energy, feel things about them. They have very specific meaning. Right, so in physical karma, Kathleen has an 11-2. So, Kathleen, have you felt lost a lot in life, especially when you were younger?
Yeah.
Yeah. How old are you now, can I ask?
60.
Yeah. So, do you feel a bit more, you've got a bit more structure now in life on how it works? Yeah.
Sure do, yeah.
So the 11-2 is basically learning about building a structure of truth in life. So initially you have no structure, which is why you feel lost, and you can become dependent on people. Does that happen?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
And the 2 is about learning emotional resiliency, because it's a little spring that moves up and down, to be able to cope with the shocks of life. So were you quite sensitive?
Yes.
Were you sensitive to shock when you were younger and you sort of went into sort of freeze at times when things happened?
I had depression quite a bit of my life, so I was very sensitive. And in the family, I had to kind of withdraw because there was like too much going on. It was like hyper-stimulated. So I would like read or sleep or something to stay away from people.
Yeah, so the 2 leads to the depression because it's about emotional movement up and down. So, and the 11 can malabsorb lots of the family's emotional garbage.
Yeah.
Do you process their stuff?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So have you been clearing that out? Sounds like you've been clearing that out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you feeling better?
I'm writing a book. It's
Yeah.
an autobiographical fiction, so I'm going through, and it's totally inspired. So it's like the first time in my life I can really write it. It's come now to this point. It needs to be written.
Yeah.
So it's a very good
Yeah. So you're putting some structure
tool.
to what's been going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what you're learning, Kathleen's learning here, is to learn to clear out all the stuff which is not hers and to discern what is her truth and build her own unique structure of truth and become emotionally resilient to take it out to the world. In physical talent, she's got these double 5s, and that's a symbol of, well, what does that look like? Anyone want to volunteer what that symbol looks like? Whatever comes to you. Yeah, it's sort of like a fetus or a swan or something abstract. Okay? And so that's all about speaking the truth. So did you get in trouble for speaking the truth as a child?
Yeah.
Yeah. They try and stop you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Kathleen's talent here is to speak the truth no matter what. You've got a very good truth smell, good nose for the truth. You know when someone's not telling the truth, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah. So this is a very sensitive energy, very psychic energy. And Kathleen probably has to use her intuition to function in the world.
Sure.
Yeah. You can't use raw power, it doesn't work.
No.
Yeah. And so this is a very spiritual energy in the physical part of the chart. So Kathleen was really born to be more spiritually orientated. You weren't really born for the rough and tumble of the real physical world.
Yes. Yet I've been in the corporate world, which is
Been tough.
a real clash. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been very hard, hasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
And so in physical goals, let's see what she's got in there, these 9s. That's a symbol of, what does that remind you of, that symbol, the 9? It's snake, serpent, dragon. Okay, so Kathleen's goal is to become the dragon, to come into power, which is what I was talking about earlier. So I would say here that you've had a lot of challenges to your power when you were younger, especially probably at work and relationships. Is that the case?
Yeah.
What's happened sort of briefly?
My father was extremely domineering.
Yeah.
You know, my way or the highway.
Yeah.
And I was the most rebellious. With 4 kids in the family, I was the most rebellious, so I was really clashing with him.
Yeah, so do you feel you're in your power now? Or getting there?
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah. So this is the strongest number you can have in the chart. So in this case, Kathleen has to learn to claim her power and to trust herself. Have you found when you trusted yourself and acted on it, it worked out okay, but if you ask everyone else, it didn't go so well?
Yeah, but it's my manifestation has been making a living. So it's always that struggle. So there seems to be like the need to compromise. So if you really want to go it alone, and there's this fear of not being able to keep a roof over my head, for example, or something like that. So it's a real
fear very much goes with that.
Very primal, situation.
Yeah, there's primal fear with the 9 because it's fear of your own power. It's fear of unleashing that power and perhaps destroying yourself, people around you, the world. There's resistance from past lives because of the misuse of power in previous times.
I misused it, or
the soul with another personality expression. You weren't there at that time, but the fear of misuse of the power, what we call a shadow.
So I was misusing power, or it was misused
the
upon
soul
me.
with another personality was misusing it, but it brought the cellular memory to this lifetime.
I see.
So to see if you can work out the proper use of it. So that's the most important number in the chart.
Wow.
That 9. Okay. So, and the reason it's been difficult to work through is because your talents are very etheric, very, very delicate energies, and you've got this big, powerful dragon which has been feeling disempowered. So it's not going to have much effect. This is why it's been a struggle. Okay.
Well, I'm not using that name, so I haven't used this name since age 20. So.
But it creates your entire life. It's like
okay.
Yeah, you put a change of name puts a new set of frequencies into you, like a layer of icing on the cake. But it still is dominant.
That's the substance.
This is the basis that creates everything, which is why we start with this.
Okay.
So in spiritual karma, Kathleen's got a 15 and a 6. And the 15 is what we call inner circular movement. So have you been going around in circles in your life?
Oh, yeah.
When younger?
Oh, yeah.
Trying out lots of different things?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so this is Kathleen going around in circles trying to find out what feels right to her and getting very insecure and restless when it doesn't. And then moving on?
Yeah.
Yeah. And the 6 is about learning to be focused and achieving things, making things happen. So did you find your focus was challenging when you were younger? You had too many things going on at once?
I was good in school, and I thought that would carry me through, but then it just didn't seem to follow through in the way that I imagine it might.
Yeah. So this is about setting clear goals, doing there'll be many different choices with the 6, and it's about feeling which one opens your heart the most, then working out about manageable steps to success to actually achieve it. That's what that's about. And completing it. And when you complete something, then you break through the blockage and the creativity. Okay? The spiritual talents are 4s, and the 4's about the absorption and duplication of knowledge, ideas, money. Do you love telling everyone about the good stuff you learn?
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is like a teacher, flowing of knowledge, okay? How's your level of trust in the flow?
Good, really good. Yeah.
Okay. And the spiritual goals are a 17-8, and this is about oppression as a child by parents and authority figures.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Has that been a major thing in relationships, being oppressed?
Yeah.
And disempowered?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Been single most of my life, actually.
Yeah. So the 17-8 is about learning to overcome the oppression by authority and talking your way through it and breaking through that to become grounded and have very clear boundaries, because this 9 indicates that the boundaries won't be so clear because of all the disempowerment. We lose our sense of boundaries because it happens at a very young age. Okay? And so it's about getting clear boundaries, coming into a power, expressing who you truly are. And the sum total of all this is the soul destiny. How are you with restaurant menus and choosing something?
I'm decisive.
Yeah. How were you when you were younger?
I think I was decisive.
Okay.
Stubborn.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Have you entered into relationships perceiving someone to be one thing and they
Yeah.
turned out to be something completely different.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, that's the issue, isn't it?
yeah.
Okay, because the 7 indicates that there is a heart wound from childhood, and the inner child, one half of that link which unites, hid away and said, I don't want to be seen because I'll be by anyone, because I'll be rejected or I'll be seen as bad. And I'm going to put out a facade, the right-hand link. I'm going to put out an image, a professional image, whatever. And you can see that, but you can't see the real me. Sound familiar?
Sure, sure.
Okay. And
Yeah.
so the idea, and what this is, because you have to make a key decision in life, which is, shall I show my real self or not? And because you are still in that process of doing that, that's why you can't tell what the truth is about a relationship. You can't tell if it's real or not. But you might enter into it, and a couple of years down the road or longer, you realize it's not this person is not who I perceived they were. That's been the main issue, I think, hasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So the first thing to do to resolve the relationship issue is to heal the heart, Kathleen. Heal the inner child so that she can drop that facade, so she doesn't have to subconsciously control everything, and bring her true self out to the world by expressing her true feelings and thoughts, and move up that scale of consciousness, which we showed earlier, and be in pure truth. And when you're in pure truth, everyone else around you has to come into their truth. And your heart heals, and then you'll be able to feel of who someone truly is. So there's what's called a dreamland filter with the 7. So what you've got to ask yourself the next time you go dating is, and form a relationship, or think about forming a relationship, is it real?
That's a good question.
It's important.
That's a very deep question.
Yeah, is it real? And you've got to look for evidence that it's real and be very cautious as you heal your heart. How many of you here have entered into relationships and found they were not what you perceived they were? Yeah, it could be 2 kids down the road and 5 years, 10 years in a marriage. Yeah, I've had that. So the thing is that with this, when you heal your heart, you'll just know, you'll feel it. Your heart will open. And if you're your authentic self in that state, then you'll know who the other person is. But only until when you reach that stage can you then be successful, with a better chance in a relationship. They're pretty challenging as it is. But this thing is showing you in a complete illusion. It's very strong. Even if you're aware of it, it can be very strong. Doesn't mean it's not, just because you're aware of it doesn't mean it's going to go away. So you've got to actually do the conscious work and heal the heart to actually be able to find someone who...
So what's the evidence? Just a good feeling of elation and real...
Well, it's
How will I
your
know?
perception of what goes on. You relate to the actual actions and the outcome of what actually happens in a
okay.
relationship,
Yeah.
which you might have noticed haven't lined up very well, probably,
Right,
for you. That's how you tell.
right, okay.
Is he who he says he is? Does he deliver
Yeah.
in whatever level you need as a woman?
Okay.
Okay, so how does all this sound?
Um,
What we just talked about.
I was asking Barbara the other day, why has it taken so long? Like, I feel like a sense of urgency, and I feel like I've kind of been in a holding pattern for 20 years. So could you say something about that? Why the soul doesn't go on a continuum, but it just seems to be like you're in a holding pattern, I would say, for 20 years. There's nothing happening, really.
Well, sometimes we need to wait for the right moment. You just found out a lot today, and you've had a reading with Barbara previously. Sometimes we need to sit in the patterns for longer than we'd like to actually get to the point where we say, I've had enough, whatever it takes, I'll do it. Or we need certain frequencies, certain experiences from some people in our relationships, which we don't cover in this particular level of the work, to actually grow. So it might be the time now.
Because I was finding my way through, very all kinds of spiritual modes, but it wasn't clicking. It wasn't doing the job. In other words, it had to be something really profound.
Yeah. Well, in your case, the key is this 9 in physical goals coming into your power, and is the key to the whole thing. That if you can come fully into your power and trust your gut feeling of what is right to do and carry it out, then that will unlock the whole chart for you in this case. So coming to your power is the key, because the heart wound comes from being disempowered as a child.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the key to it. Then everything else will happen.
Yeah, that was quite a setup.
Yep, it's quite.
I engineered.
You did. You
know.
did.
Yeah.
So does that help clarify things?
Yes, it's very helpful.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So how many of you guys have actually got your charts on you? Okay. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Yeah.
So are you saying then that her main goal for her
Just,
destiny?
just grab the microphone, yeah.
So are you saying that her main destiny goal for her destiny now is to find her power?
Yes,
Okay.
that's the key. Okay, so you guys might want to switch on your phones if you got. So Barbara can email you. She's emailed you your charts. Okay, so you can use your phones now to look at your charts, because I'm going to tell you what they mean. So, okay. Okay, can you? Oh, just quickly. Then there's a lady
Oh,
behind you.
I had a question also about the names. When you said that you choose your name and then you hope your parents pick that name.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of people are named after their parents. You know what I'm saying? Or the grandfather or the...
Well, that's part. The soul chooses that.
Okay.
The soul chooses that. Okay, thanks. Okay, we'll have one more question because I want to actually get through the 22 numbers so you guys can understand what your charts are about. Has to be quick.
So if we're going by name, what about two people who have the exact same name?
Well, the differences are there's DNA, ancestral input, past lives, astrological influence. So lives will be similar but not identical. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, because there's a lot of you, okay, I'm going to go through the 22 numbers and tell you what they mean, both positively, in a positive expression and a negative expression. So you might want to take some notes, because I'm going to explain your lives to you. Okay? And when I talk about the positive aspect, that applies in the talent position, either spiritual or physical. When I talk about the negative expression, it applies especially to the karmic position, but also to the goal position, which is sort of half karmic, or half positive, half negative. Because that's not possible to do each of your charts, given we've got about 25 minutes, okay? So how many of you guys have got a 1 in your chart? Okay, so 1 is unity, power, and stability. It's the energies of the masculine aspect of God, Archangel Michael. So if it's in a positive aspect, you're very strong, very warrior-like, very much in your power. If it's in a negative aspect, karma or goals, what it means is that you have a challenge of coming into power relative to the masculine. You could have had a big challenge with your father or lack of father, or you need to, if you're a man, to step up into your masculine power. Okay? And it's about disseminating healing and knowledge.
Did you say that the negative was the right number? It's karma or goals.
Again, negative could be karma or goals. Okay? All right? So let me just I'll put the slideshow on so you can see a bit more. Just a minute. Where is it? Okay. So the 2, which should actually be probably rotated 90 degrees anti-clockwise, this is our resilient spring. So if it is in talents, it means you have emotional resiliency. You're exploring the energies of, or you're trying to become objective. So you're mostly resilient, you have objectivity, you can support each other, people emotionally. You have a lot of wisdom. If it's in karma or goals, it means you're very impulsive. And if you act impulsively, you make foolish decisions. And out of those decisions, you learn great wisdom. And also, you're very sensitive to emotional shock. Okay? So this is a very supportive energy for other people. Okay? But for you, it can be quite a challenge because the emotional load of your family will sit on you and will sit on that spring and compress it. How many of you got 3s somewhere in the chart? And how many of you had challenges financially? Okay, so the 3, in the 3 here, this is called an internal canal. And deep in the canal lies ancient soul wisdom. So if you've got this in karma or talents, it means you will have a program of feeling unworthy to be loved, which could be triggered by one moment in childhood. It's a very deep program, and what happens is that the ego goes, I'm not worthy to be loved, so I'm going to hide away. And so that unworthiness translates into negative cash flow, overdrafts, loans, debt, whatever, failed businesses, until you clear out the unworthiness and allow the wisdom and knowledge of this ancient library of knowledge to come out, and you're actually here to become a teacher, communicator, writer, performer. If it's in talents, it naturally means you're a natural leader, you're connected to the soul, you are very much, when you speak, everyone listens to you. I have a physical karmic 3, and that's what's communicating to you now. That enabled me to write that book, for example. Okay, so it's a very powerful number, this one. The 4 here, which we saw for Kathleen, the 4 is about duplicating the flow of nature, of God's abundance. So whatever comes to you, if it's in talents, you duplicate and share. See, Kathleen said she wanted to share whatever she learns. So it's duplicating the flow of nature. If it's in talents, if it's in karma or goals, it means that there's a feeling that I'm not worthy of receiving this flow, and I can't duplicate, and I won't pass it on because I believe subconsciously no more is going to come. And so in a karmic or goal position, it's where you'll face challenges of trust. You have to learn to take a risk. You know you have to take a risk, but there's no guarantee it will come to pass. But if you do take it, you notice that the universe helps you, and supports you moving forward. Okay, it's all about trust, and the leaps of trust get bigger all the time. So after a while you realize it's a little scary, but I know it'll work because I've done it enough before. So it's about trusting in the flow. And this is also about the ultimate flow of nature is children. And so this is about sharing yourself with children and learning the more you share of yourself, the more that will come to you. So this is our swan or fetus. If you have this in karma or goals, it means that you have had past life issues of suppression, execution of your truth. So you could not, you were suppressed, persecuted for speaking that truth. So you've got to clear the past life issues, because that will lead to a lack of expression, a fear of expression in this life. It usually leads to being shut down like Kathleen was as a child. If it's in talents, someone who's highly psychic, who can feel the energy really well and just knows exactly what's going on, read people's minds. It's in soul destiny, it's similar. The whole lifetime. Soul destiny is like being in karma initially until you work through all the other 6 aspects. So it's a long time coming. Pardon? Okay. Well, it just means it's focused purely. If you have 2 of those in talents, it's focused purely on that energy. So it means you're very psychic. You really have to use your intuition to function in the world. Okay? So the 6 here is what we call a convertible knot. How many of you guys have got 6s? Okay, so how many of you get frustrated have a good temper? Yeah? So the 6 here is about taking a thought which really resonates with you, and then taking it out into, creatively taking it out into a physical form, manifesting in the world. So it's creativity in action. People with this can be very artistic, very creative, or very businesslike. Okay? And so it's about, as I said for Kathleen, getting very focused and doing one thing at a time and completing it. Okay? And there's a lot of frustration and anger if it's in karma or goals, because the ego is trying to send creative energy in all sorts of different directions, and basically it's stopping itself from moving forward in one direction properly. If it's in talent, it's someone who's very creative. Okay? They're very creative or very businesslike. They can get things done, make it happen. This is a 7 which we had in Kathleen's Soul Destiny. So if it's in karma or goals, it means you're hiding away because you don't feel safe to show yourself in the world. But the paradox of the lesson is to make a decision to show your real self, and actually it's completely safe by being in your truth. And then once you're completely safe, you can make a decision about who you are. If it's in talents, it's someone who's a networker, very magnetic, very open-hearted, draw lots of like-minded people to them, and synergizes them into a greater whole. Okay. This is the 8. This is our amoeba. So if this isn't karma or goals, it means that you don't really want to be here on Earth. How many of you guys have got 8s? How many of you wish you hadn't come, but you made it this far? Yeah. Okay, it's because you're not used to coming here and you're trying to understand the intense, and maybe as a watery creature, you're trying to form clear emotional boundaries with the world, and you're trying to find where your boundary is and where everyone else is, and not get over involved in their stuff, which gets you in lots of trouble because they don't like it. Okay? And so this one here is about coming and understanding how the polarity of earthly emotions work, joy and sadness. Because initially with an 8, you're going to be in your head all the whole time trying to figure out how, you know how men say, I think I feel like this? Well, an 8 says the same. They never had a feeling initially. So they have what we call mental body models. Then one day, gradually, that starts to dissolve and they come into their body and start to feel real feelings for the first time, which is a real shock for an 8 because it's like, oh, can't deal with emotions. It's just too dense. But that's the whole point, is to ground in the body, feel the emotions and let go of the mind. Okay? And if it is in talents, it's someone who's very good at relating to all sorts of people. They can be like an emotional chameleon at a party. They can change and morph to connect to whoever's there. Okay? This is our dragon. It's a bit like one of those big black Harry Potter dragons, really powerful. And so if it's in karma or goals, it's one of the toughest patterns you can have. Second toughest pattern you can have, because it will manifest a lot of emotional, mental, spiritual abuse in life, because it brings in lots of past life energy of what we call the shadow destroyer. It means the soul with another personality seriously misuse power, so you come back in to play the other end of that. You'll usually be on the receiving end of that. So this is very abusive marriages or childhood. Okay? It's quite fierce, this one. How many of you guys have got that?
In talents.
Well, in talents it's different. Talents means that you feel very protected and that you can pretty much do what you like down here and no one can stop you. Sound familiar?
Good to know.
Yeah. So it means that you're a force to be reckoned with. So it's a catalyst. It's a real big red button pusher of everyone else when you have that. Okay, so when a dragon walks in the room, if other people don't have the same energy, they find a little intimidating sometimes because they know the dragon can do what it wants, and often it does. Go on.
You have 2 dragons in your soul destiny.
Yeah, 2 dragons in the soul destiny mean that the whole lifetime is about coming into your power and learning the proper use of that power. Okay? This is the 10. This is called potential manifestation. And spirit always flows in curves, not a straight line. So this energy in talents means how many of you guys have got this? It means it's about bringing the balanced male-female aspects of God through you and opening in consciousness to those energies, to bring them through, to use those spiritual energies in pure service to humanity. If it is in karma or goals, it means you don't trust in that God consciousness coming through you. Part of you completely doubts that it exists, but part of you at the same time believes it. So it's a conflict. You're flowing in both directions at once. So it's about dissolving the ego's disbelief in higher consciousness and trusting that intuitive flow.
So if it's in soul destiny, then?
If it's in soul destiny, it means to get to a very high state of consciousness, potentially enlightenment, if you really work on it, but not many people get there. But you got a better chance nowadays than ever before. Okay? This is our 11. So this is our structure here. So if this is in karma or goals, how many of you guys have got this? Okay, you may be struggling a bit to grasp this evening, but if you watch the video again later, then you'll pick up a lot more. Okay, so this is about learning to discern what structures are my truth, what concepts and ideas are my truth, and I'm going to throw away all the stuff which is not my truth, and I'm going to build this unique structure of truth and take it to the world. So it means the assimilation learning process when you're younger is challenging. So you have to hear and experience things in many different ways to actually get that structure. If it's in, and you can malabsorb lots of stuff which is not yours, basically emotional garbage from the family and ancestors. If it's in talents, it means you're a builder of truth or a builder of physical things. You want to build a business, build buildings, whatever. And so seeking knowledge is very important in this case. The 12 here is about expansion, absorption and expansion of knowledge. How many of you guys have got 12s? How many of you get out of balance, get really extreme? And so that comes from uneven expansion in the world and obstacles coming because of that expansion. That's in karma or goals. Okay? If it's in talents, it means that you're really good, you read probably 6 books at once, absorb lots of knowledge, take it to a higher level, and take it out to the world with a 3, because the 3 goes with a 12. This is the 13. This is the divine feminine aspect of God. This is the energy of the New Age, Sananda. And so, in talents, this is someone who has a completely open feminine heart, man or woman, who just unconditionally loves and accepts everything and everyone exactly as they are. And people are just naturally magnetized to them by that love. Because most of us go around judging ourselves. The more spiritually aware we become, the more we judge ourselves because we see all our imperfections. But that actually paradoxically locks all our programs in place and slows us down. So this energy of the 13 just allows us to surrender and accept everything. If it's in karma or goals, how many of you guys have got this? Not many? Anyone got 13? 1. A 13 in karma or goals means there's an imbalance in your relationship with a feminine aspect of God, which can be played out with the mother, or with woman, if you're a man. Okay? Or if you're a woman, it could be with your mother, where you had a mother who was smothering, or she wasn't there, you were adopted, she was missing in some way. And so this is about reconnecting, because one of the primary programs in the way we feel towards the divine is we feel abandoned by it. So this is feeling abandonment by the feminine aspect of God. Okay? Simba.
Soul destiny?
Means the idea is to come purely into that feminine heart and share that unconditional love, or it could be to become a very good mother if you're a woman, or a very good parent if you're a man. It varies depending on what happens. Okay? So the 14 here, how many of you guys have got 14s? How many of you find life's really intense emotionally? Intense relationships, you get burnt out? Because it's called reflected being. So in a karmic or goal position, you have very intense relationships to find out who you are. It's sort of like the motto would be, I relate, therefore I am. Okay, so it's about learning to pace that intensity so you find out who you are without falling over from the burnout which can occur with a 14. If it's in talents, it's good at reflecting to others who they are. Well, your whole life is about lots of relationships to find out who you are.
In destiny?
Yeah. We've got about 6 minutes, so I'm just trying to get through the rest of these. So the 15 was Kathleen going around in circles. So the 15 in karma or goals is going around in circles, trying to find your life path. And you can still be doing it in your 30s or 40s, whereas everyone else has got a career, seems to be happy, probably not. Okay? Trying to find your right path that sits right in you, in what we call the symbolic stomach. If it's in talents, it means that you're following a gentle journey to find either God, spirit, higher consciousness, either within you or outside you. 16 is about bringing spiritual energies down to the earth plane here and making them accessible in plain English to people. So you're a bridge from higher consciousness. How many of you guys have got 16s? It's about taking higher consciousness and making it really accessible to people, cutting out all the complexity and saying it in a very simple way that people will grasp. If it's in karma or goals, it means there's a resistance to that. So there can be some anger at this energy that comes through. If it's in talents, it means You're a very good, what we call dispenser of different spiritual functions to people. Okay. The 17 we had with Kathleen is like a symbolic mouth. It's about speaking about spirit, higher consciousness in society. If it's in talents, it means you're very good at relating to lots of people. I have one of these in my physical talents. If it's in karma or goals, it means that your expression was totally suppressed as a child. Parents ignored you. Okay, and you have to literally talk your way through it. I had one client, we spent 95% of sessions for 2 years. She just talked her way through her childhood trauma. In the end, she was better because she needed to talk her way through this program. Okay. 18. How many of you guys got an 18s? How many of you procrastinate? No. 18. Yeah, an 18 is about finality and solution. This is you from many past lives coming to the point, shall I follow the flow of spirit or not? And someone like this will procrastinate because they want to make the right decision. So they will do lots of research to make sure in karma or goals they make the right decision because they're scared of making the wrong one. And it's about them learning that they can only make the best decision possible by trusting their gut feel, because a 9 goes with that. Okay? And if it's in talents, they're very good project managers. They can make the hard decisions, carry them out, complete things. If it's in karma or goals, they'll procrastinate about 80% of the way through. They'll say, oh, I'll get someone else to do it, and they won't finish things. Okay? So the 19 is about bringing spiritual energies down to the earth plane, forming a physical form out of it for others to come into, to learn about and achieve their goals. And if it's in talents, they'll have the ability to do that, build a center, hold space. If it's in karma or goals, they'll be resisting the spiritual energy and they'll be misusing it. They may want to set up a center, for example, but they'll face huge challenges doing that. It might take them the whole lifetime to actually achieve that. Okay? The 20, how many of you guys got 20s? How many of you had a lot of conflict in your life? This is what we call war and peace. If it's in karma or goals. It's where you have internal emotional war, usually past life stuff and ancestral stuff. It's about trying to reach emotional peace by cleaning out the conflict within you. And it's about great movement, learning to move out of rigid belief systems to actually be able to flow with lots of different ranges of spiritual experience. And with the talents of someone who's just very flexible, they'll go far beyond the norm in terms of exploring life, either physically or spiritually. Who's got a 21? Anyone got a 21? How many of you had to endure a lot of hardship, a lot of challenges, and you got strong from it? Yeah. So this is the divine mother aspect. And so this is the power a woman has to last, say, 3 days to give birth, whereas most of us men would die in the first 3 minutes doing that. Okay. And so this is the enormous power of the divine mother. And so it's building great strength, overcoming hardship. Okay. To become very strong, to take on the big challenges in life, break the big boulders. So if it's in karma or goals, it means you can get stuck. Lots of inertia, because unless something's challenging enough, you won't rise to the occasion. You do little things. If it's in talents, it means you can take on the challenges and you enjoy them. But after a while, in either position, you get to the point where you're looking for the easy way. How many of you guys with us are looking for the easy way now? No? Still breaking boulders? Okay. So the last one is a 22. Who's got a 22? Anyone? The 22 is the blending of mind, body, and soul within the circle of, call it God, Great Spirit. This is completion. This is source. And if it's in talents, this is someone who can draw from source, from all the high multidimensional parts of themselves, in completeness, whatever anyone needs, and can speak from that. If it's in karma or goals, it's very challenging because the ego believes that most of us unconsciously believe we feel abandoned by Great Spirit, God, because by being in a body. Someone with this in karma believes there is no God. They feel it's just me stuck in this body, in this reality, and there's no way home. So they mentally they understand about that, but about higher consciousness, but they may feel that they've been completely cut off. Okay, so this is one of the toughest patterns you can have. So, the other 22 numbers. So I hope that's helped. You probably need to listen to this a few times to grasp all the different parts of it. Okay. If you want to learn more about it, the book gives in great detail how you do the chart, which most of you should have by now, but it basically explains what all the numbers mean in all the positions in great depth. And most importantly, it tells you the recommendations which tell you what do you do about it. Now you've found out, the secret of life, the real secret. This is very accurate, as you've probably discovered, looking at your charts. It shows you actually how to navigate your life so you can actually break through the patterns we just talked about, so they're no longer stopping you. Not saying it's going to always be, it's easy, but at least you know what's actually creating your reality and what you can do about it. So that's what the book allows you to do. Okay? And if you like a more in-depth, sort of customized understanding of your chart, Barbara there, her card was on there, she can give you more in-person reading on Skype or in person. She lives in Grass Valley. She's one of my soul contract practitioners. If you want to know more about it, because depending on where you are in your stage of life, your contract will read differently, because it depends on how much you work through. It's not a function of age, it's a function of how much consciousness and dedication you've placed on your spiritual journey. Other things we have here, how many of you are therapists? Yeah, if you want to learn how to use this work in your therapeutic practice for others, we have a training which we're running in Asheville, North Carolina, starting on the 15th of May in person, or you can come on web stream as well. It's fully interactive. And we also offer that as a 12-session training over about 3 months, starting in June, if Asheville's too soon. And the other things we offer, there's a thing called divine healing, which is a very powerful healing modality using higher self to dismantle all that you could discover in the contract in a very fast way. That was the other brochure there. Because the soul contract provides the map, but then you've got to go and do something about burning through all the programs. That's why we developed divine healing. Our Mira, my ex-business partner, developed it. It's very powerful. And if you just want to learn how to align with your own contract, we have a thing called Creating Bliss in Your Everyday Life, which is using this work. It's an online training for 8 sessions. Mid-June-ish, we'll probably start it, where we teach you actually how to flow with each of your aspects and how to work through them. So actually how to navigate your life practically with tools to align with your purpose. Okay? So I've just had to hit 9 o'clock because that's what I agreed with East-West. So I hope you enjoyed that. We're going to have a book signing now, so if you want to ask me any questions, that's the time to ask me there. Okay? Thank you for your time.